Last summer, an exciting adventure suddenly burst into my life. It was my friends, a young couple named Tom and Roxy, who decided to organize an unforgettable seaside vacation for me and a friend. After much discussion with my beloved Sheila, we agreed to this enticing proposal without hesitation. I contributed our share, preparing for what promised to be a lifetime of vivid memories. However, just 2 days before we left, Sheila called to say that her employer had sent her on an urgent business trip to Japan to negotiate as a translator. As such, Sheila was unable to join us on the beach. I had originally decided not to go at all, but Tom, who had been a friend of mine since college, persuaded me to go without Sheila, noting that the money would not be refunded. So there we were on the beach. The view was breathtaking. There were cliffs all around, and between them was a bay with a beautiful sandy beach. LED stairs led from the boarding house where we stayed to the beach. We stayed in a comfortable house equipped with a small kitchen and refrigerator, as well as a spacious room with 4 beds. According to our long tradition, we took a pleasant bath in the warm water and then cooked a delicious kebab for dinner. Afterward, we sat on the veranda, not only enjoying the taste of the meat but also the pleasant evening breeze, exchanging conversations, and enjoying each other's company. Perhaps I should say a few words about my friends. Tom is a handsome, tall guy, 187 centimeters tall, 25 years old, my age. Roxy is a petite girl, 160 centimeters tall and 50 kilograms, 22 years old, with rather long hair, a beautiful athletic figure, and a cheerful disposition. Her casual charm dominated the interaction with her. She joked, laughed so genuinely, as if we had known each other for ages. It was only our 3rd meeting with her, but it felt as if it was a 100-year acquaintance, as if we had gotten closer for a lifetime in one evening. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, we took turns showering and getting settled in for the night. Since the beds were in only one room, we decided at first to move 2 of them for Tom and Roxy and to put a curtain on the other 2 where I was supposed to sleep. But since we were up late, we decided to just put the beds together, and I made a bed for myself in the other corner by the window. Tom and I were already lying down, getting comfortable, when Roxy came into the room in a short robe. There was no makeup on her face, but that didn't make her any less attractive. "Are you all settled in?" Roxy asked and flicked the light switch. It should be noted that the couple's place was in front of the window, and since the night was quite bright because of the full moon, everything was well lit. I, on the other hand, was in the shadows. Roxy took off her robe and remained in her nightgown, which barely covered her halves, exposing her slender legs. "Move over, honey," she turned to Tom, but he patted the seat next to him, inviting his wife to lie down near the wall. Roxy had to stand up to get over her husband, and in doing so, her shirt was pulled up almost to her back, and I caught a glimpse of her. She wasn't wearing any underwear, and for a moment, I thought I could see her crotch. "Good night, everyone," Roxy said and kissed her husband on the cheek. You cannot imagine the storm of emotion that swept over me as I saw her excitement invaded my thoughts, shrouding them in misty shadows of reverie. How would I endure 7 days of living next to these lovers, immersed in these thoughts? I dozed off and was awakened by familiar sounds, the creaking of the bed, the breathing of Tom and Roxy. I cautiously opened my eyes and saw what I expected, Tom lying on his side, entertaining Roxy, whom I couldn't even see because of their size difference. Nevertheless, I had the opportunity to watch my friend's rhythmic movements from time to time. Tom would turn his head and look in my direction, probably trying to determine if I was asleep or not. As a result, Roxy peeked out from behind her husband's back and stared at me for a few moments. I closed my eyelids tightly and didn't move. After a while, I realized from the sounds that the process had resumed, and cautiously opened my eyes. Roxy was sitting on top of him with her arms around his head and moving smoothly. In the process, they were also conversing in a whisper, but I could hear. "Were you worried?" Tom whispered. The couple lay almost motionless for a few minutes, then Roxy whispered, "I still want more." "I really do." Tom replied, surprised. Roxy looked at me again. "Walter, obviously," she whispered. Hearing that made me aroused because Walter was yours truly. I tried to hide it with my hand, but the couple noticed. They both turned their heads in my direction but didn't stop. They were already in such a state that it was impossible to interrupt what they had started. Instead, Tom began to move more intensely, no longer paying attention to the noise of the bed, and Roxy was breathing passionately. Tom tensed up and began to spurt all over her back, then lifted her by the shoulders and turned her toward him. Roxy didn't mind. As I looked at her, I noticed that she was looking at me too, not averting her gaze. This gave me a strange feeling, and I quickly turned my back to the wall, trying to hide my thoughts. The next morning, Roxy and Tom were acting like nothing had happened, chatting and joking around. The day passed rather quickly. In the evening, after dinner, they decided to have a drink. Once again, they stayed up late. When Tom and Roxy left, I cleaned up the kitchen and decided to sleep on the floor so I wouldn't bother them again. But when they came back, Tom didn't approve. "Walter, you know what the matter is," he began rather hesitantly, but then, having apparently made up his mind, he went on, "You saw us last night with Roxy, didn't you?" "Yes, I did. That's why I decided to move into the kitchen," I replied. "You don't need to go to the kitchen. You like Roxy, don't you?" "Of course, I do. You've always had good taste. The thing is, we realize how hard it will be for you to spend so many days with us, seeing and hearing us do this, but Roxy and I have had several discussions about having a third person present. I really want to showcase Roxy's talents, so since this situation has arisen, why not invite you?" I was shocked by what I heard. Tom was personally inviting me to have fun with his own wife. "I don't know," I stammered. "Roxy's waiting," Tom said reassuringly. "Then I'm ready." Roxy was lying on the bed, and it was clear from the look on her face that she was nervous. "It's okay, Walter doesn't mind." "Relax," Tom said encouragingly. He turned off the lights and took off his clothes. The girl didn't say anything, just pulled her husband to her and kissed him hard on the lips. They started hugging and kissing, rolling over to the far bed, making room for me. It didn't take long for me to get there. Roxy pulled away from her husband and turned to me. Her lips were slightly open, and I instinctively fell into a long, passionate kiss. At the same time, my right hand fumbled for her cherries through the fabric of her shirt, but Tom motioned for Roxy to lie down, and she willingly complied. Her husband, sitting next to her, began to explore her delightful world of flavors. After a while, we decided to switch places with Tom so that we could each enjoy this magical experience. After 10 minutes, Roxy splashed out, stretched a bit, and then exhibited behavior that Tom and I were shocked by. First, the girl made us lie down next to each other and started doing it. After about 5 minutes, I felt ready to discharge and asked where we could do it. Roxy rolled over and grabbed it, and Tom used her at that point. I couldn't hold back for long. Roxy ate it all up. After a few seconds, Tom spurted out too. "Did you like it?" Tom asked, apparently addressing both of us, and then added, "I liked it." Words of gratitude came out of Roxy's mouth, and 15 minutes later, we repeated our journey into the world of ecstasy. The remaining 5 days were a thrilling adventure, like pages from a fairy tale, where Roxy became a magician who worked miracles. On the third day, we finally talked Roxy into trying something completely new, and she gladly accepted our offer. We were all over the moon to play such games. That week had completely revolutionized my perception of the values that there had been so much noise and discussion about. It's amazing how quickly it happened, and everyone enjoyed it immensely. This is how I went on vacation without my girlfriend. Hopefully, it will remain a secret. Although you could try doing it with 2 families. Do you think it's worth a try, dear friends? If you like this story, please share your thoughts in the comments, like or dislike, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you all, until new stories.